The French antitrust regulator has declared that it has fined Japanese tech giant Sony 13.5 million euros or 14.8 million US dollars. The penalty stems from what the regulatory body characterizes as Sony's misuse of its dominant position in the PlayStation 4 video game controller market. And specifically, they are talking about third-party controllers. The antitrust investigation exposed two main violations committed by Sony. So first, in November 2015, the company was combating counterfeit practices and therefore they were implementing some technical measures. Unfortunately, these measures unintentionally interfered with the proper functioning of third-party game controllers, lacking an official Sony license. According to the regulator, third-party controllers regularly experienced disconnections during console operating system updates due to Sony's disproportionate measures. The antitrust authority found Sony's actions to be indiscriminate, negatively impacting all unlicensed or third-party controllers without distinction. And this approach was seen as harmful to third-party manufacturers, which significantly damaged their brand image and obviously impeded their market expansion. Additionally, the antitrust body highlighted a lack of transparency in Sony's licensing policy. Rival companies were reportedly hindered from joining the licensing program, with access only granted through Sony's partnership program. Now, the regulatory authority discovered that Sony refused to communicate the program access criteria to manufacturers upon request, meaning that these third-party controller companies repeatedly requested that they be communicated, instructions on how to be a part of this, and Sony just left them in the dust, just, didn't regard them at all. And it's now claimed that this criteria was applied only at Sony's discretion. Basically, they held the key to have this licensing program or policy, and basically they were not widely communicating how these third-party companies for controllers can have access to it. And this access to this program was the only way to prevent controllers from regularly being disconnected from the system. Obviously, this is going to cause a lot of issues with your controller if it continues to just disconnect from your PS4. So the combination of these practices, according to the antitrust body, significantly harmed the brand image of third-party manufacturers and therefore hindered their market expansion, which potentially led to their exclusion from the market. So like I said, definitely a big fine, almost 15 million US dollars. As of now, Sony has not responded to this fine, but this decision is anticipated to have repercussions throughout the gaming industry, sparking discussions on fair competition and the responsibilities of dominant players in the market. Obviously, in situations like this, Sony is the dominant person, and the third-party controller companies, they are just kind of left to play by their rules. But the French antitrust regulator ruled against that, basically saying that is not fair in the market. But yeah, I think that this will lead to other gaming companies and just people in the gaming industry kind of rethinking how they do stuff like this. It was actually just news for Xbox, like not too long ago at all, maybe a month or two ago, that they were kind of doing this same thing. They were basically getting these new rules and regulations for third-party controllers and third-party accessories for the Xbox that basically left a lot of third-party companies and their products that were previously compatible with Xboxes no longer compatible. I think that if something like this is happening with Sony doing the exact same thing, basically, that Xbox has just started doing, well, I think if Xbox does not reverse their recent decision to kind of just blacklist a lot of these third-party companies, I think Xbox could definitely get fined some money for the same reason Sony's getting fined right now. Sometimes these antitrust regulators, they can be kind of controversial in the things they do, but something like this, I do like it. I think third-party accessories and companies and stuff, I think stuff like that's really cool. I think leaving them out of the market just out of nowhere is totally unfair, and I do not like it. So what they just did with Sony, I think is really cool. Definitely sends a message. Hopefully it also sends the same message to Xbox.